Cement making is one of the largest and most profitable industries in Ceylon. It is said that one bag of cement provides employment for 200 people, from the labourer who packs it to the mason who uses it for building purposes. Cement is primarily made out of limestone, and the components and raw materials which go to make cement are carefully combined and blended by workers and technicians, many of whom have been trained abroad. People like Sentu Narvan have been the end result of the sincere desire for friendship and peace and the development of mankind over the years. The interchange of technical training and of personnel has been an integral element by which this sincerity and friendship has been demonstrated. These men and others like them are contributing to the building of a better Ceylon.
It just doesn't make sense anymore. Conventional technological solutions to our problems don't seem to be working.
We started the Sarvodaya movement 28 years ago from a very poor village in Sri Lanka. Now we are working in nearly 8,000 poor villages of Sri Lanka out of 23,000 villages. And what the poor people have at their disposal is their ability to think by themselves, to feel and to use their limbs for their own self-development. And these three together we call it shrama, or labor, or effort. So sharing of labor is the first principle of our movement. And we share this labor to meet one or more basic needs of the people. We start with what people can do with their own effort. That's why we always say self-reliance, community participation, and a planned program of action should guide us. Now this planned program is formulated by the people themselves. What we do is, from village communities, we select groups of young people who are taken to villages where already such activities are going on, and to our own development education institutions, and try to give them a training in community leadership as well as leadership in certain skills. These skills are to meet 10 requirements. 1, the environmental needs. 2, needs for clean and adequate supply of water. 3, minimum of clothing. 4th, balanced diet, food requirements. 5th, basic health care. 6th, simple housing. 7th, energy requirements. 8th, communication requirements. 9th, total education. 10th, spiritual and cultural needs. So these 10 basic human needs we have identified and subdivided into about 200 sub-needs, which were done by the villagers themselves, and then they learn those technologies that are appropriate to meet these needs with their own effort, with whatever assistance they can get from outside. Even if they get no help from outside, there are lots of things they can do on their own, and we go on like that.
Well, it seems that Sarvodaya gives the people power in what is happening to them, rather than having a power over them, telling them what to do. That the organization allows for the families as well as the communities and the villages and eventually the nation to make its own choice in how it'll be functioning in this world. And a large superpower isn't coming in to say this is the way it is and this is the way you should be behaving. Sarvodaya seems to believe in a Buddhist kind of philosophy, where in the East, especially, since it is something that's always been here as long as people can remember, it seems like an energy that should be used, or a fuel that can really power the nation.
Modern society places before the entire world a certain model of life, a way of life, which is affluence really. So we reject affluence as our objective because it's neither achievable nor is it going to give joy of living. So we have rejected the concept of building an affluent society. Similarly, we have rejected living in misery and poverty. So Sarvodaya is aiming at a no poverty, no affluent society, because a no poverty society is a realizable objective. You know, westernized societies forgot these basic human values because they got themselves organized around production, more and more production, more and more profit from that production, and more material things from that production. And then to gear your politics, your economics, your religion, everything to that end was the underlying objective of Western society as I perceive it. Now, because of that, they forgot that. They were pushing the human being further and further and further away from the center of life. The result is the destruction of the quality of human life and the destruction of the nature around him, and also depletion of resources. Now in our case, we have a more balanced view. We believe that we should not conquer nature, we should coexist with nature. We should not try to sort of forge ahead, trampling all the other people around us, but we should hold hands together and march forward together.
In Christianity, Christ said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things will come unto you." So it seems to me that this movement has done that first. They have identified a spiritual component within the nation, and the people have responded to that. And because of that response, then they have gone on to develop the things that they need for the well-being of the nation, at the village level, at the regional level.
Those who have reaped benefit of the modern technological society have alienated from themselves as individuals. They have alienated from their families as human beings. They have alienated themselves from their communities and from their world. In other words, it's a sort of a highly individualistic, organized type of greed to which we give all types of very nice names. Then this have been done at the cost of a lot of social evils, as we find in our modernized societies today. Also it has paid a very high price by way of destruction of our nature. It also has brought about enmities resulting in building even nuclear armaments. So when you look at modern society in that context, it has not brought about that joy, that peace, that community that all human beings should aspire to. So we have to find people who believe that a more modest, more simple way of life should be the ideal.
I think the greatest advantage is that people really do feel that it's their organization and that it's based on what they really want themselves, so that they are most enthusiastic about it. One feels this enthusiasm in actually talking with the people in the villages. It's really a very inspiring thing to actually experience. Now, people are convinced that they can really accomplish something through the self-help principle. That is, the basic idea that other people are perhaps going to help those who help themselves, but really a great deal is accomplished simply by helping oneself. And I find that the reality of this, when the actual working out of this principle, is very, very impressive indeed, when I realize that people really believe in it and really do accomplish things.
Sarvodaya has become successful because we didn't introduce something to the people which they felt to be alien. We saw within them that for personality awakening, they respected four principles. Respect for all life, human being, animal and plant. Then compassionate action to make the living happy. Then learning to get the joy out of service. Every moment you do something, learn to get a joy out of it. Fourthly, try to build sort of equanimity, a mental equipoise, so that name and blame, gain and profit, all these things could be accepted with detachment. These are the four basic principles of personality awakening according to Buddhist philosophy. Then similarly, they believed as social principles, sharing, pleasant language, constructive activity and equality in association. So these 8 principles, 4 for the individual and 4 for the group, were our guiding factors. So these were common to the people, they knew them. What we did was to give them concrete practice, and these practices also existed in the past. We revived them and then tried to meet modern challenges. And as some of us are people who are exposed to what you call modernity, we could see the loopholes in modern society, modern education, modern health approaches, modern development jargon. So we help these people to orient their thinking and their vocabulary and their actions in such a way that even modern developers cannot find fault with what we are doing. We are not trying to transform society by asking for power at the center. Instead, we try to reduce the power at the center by empowering the people at the level of the village. We believe that modern science and technology can be used for peace and development in the world to the extent that those things are controlled by people at the base who are democratically organized.
The movement in the West, particularly in the area of medical associations being interested in holistic health, there's one in the States now, there's one in Britain, is that you've got to take the whole human life into account if you want to build up a person's health. You can't anymore think of it simply in terms of biochemistry and biochemical interventions. Now, Dr. Ariyaratne seems to sidestep that whole process of development in the West and has gone straight back to the cultural roots in this part of the world, which specifies that everything begins with the qualities that you can cultivate as a human being. And I find it very interesting that what's happening at the cutting edge, as I see it in the West, is being paralleled here, but for very different historical reasons. In the West, it's operating very much at the individual level as yet. What Dr. Ariyaratne is doing is to apply it at the social level. And one of the things I'm very interested in is actually making the link between what's happening in the West and what's happening here, and showing that there is a continuum.
The future of Sarvodaya is very bright, and we are really optimists, because I believe that we have lost quality from human society because we have been organizing the world in very big proportions, like huge multinational organizations, empires, big, strong, centralized governments. We have been organizing quantity, because it's only quantity that can be centralized. Quality cannot be centralized. Quality has to be decentralized. Therefore, if we are to improve the human quality of our entire world population, all over the world we should build small communities. Maybe your workplace, maybe a factory, maybe a highly industrialized society. A few, 10 families can get together and form a small community. And these communities should share a value system with the poorer communities in the world. For example, believing in oneness of life is a value which everybody can share, our interdependency. They should share the view that it's non-violence that can do these things. Now, this sort of groups getting organized in affluent societies as well as poor societies should be linked together technologically. And this technology should be provided by the people who are in affluent society. Now, while I talk to you now through this medium, we should be able to do it for the whole world to see it at the same time and to get the message back. The technology is so developed, but they are using that technology to start star wars or something like that. If this same technology is used to bring communities together around the globe, community to community, not government to government, then these communities will begin to understand the poverty, the hunger, the privations with which people in the poorer world live, and they will come out to help them. So that help becomes a sharing, not aid. Because aid is a dirty word. I know, having gone through this for nearly 20 years, how humiliating it is when a person who knows nothing of development, except the fact that he has a lot of money, come and tell us what to do. You see? But this sort of organization where direct links are established between communities in the world, I think that is the best insurance against war, against exploitation, and also the surest road to build peace and prosperity in our world. Therefore, I call it Vishodaya, universal awakening.